Greetings, my fellow most Southern thinkers. This is LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida, and today's date is Wednesday, November 15th, 2017. Furthermore, I'm at CG Travel Lounge, located at 400 Southwest First Avenue, along the New River of Fort Lauderdale. Pet friendly, of course, mom and pop facility, right along the corner of the southwest section of the Andrews Avenue Bridge. Yeah, so been pretty quiet past few days, and having a crazy hours, so I'm managing, but I will survive. But it's cooling down, which is awesome, especially living in a camper, sleeping in there, feel that cool breeze. And so I was trying to do this yesterday, but I had too much on my plate. However, I'm going to pursue this. This is in reference to a gentleman named Fane Lozman, who has filed a lawsuit against the city of Riviera Beach after his arrest in 2006. And it was in reference to his boat. He had a houseboat, which they took, quote unquote, from eminent domain, demolished it, sued him, and won. And now he's fighting on his First Amendment rights, or Article 1, Section 4 of the Florida Constitution, which I'm going to add that to the memo as well. I got a couple of things to talk about also. So it's about the whole First Amendment battle, and it says here, U.S. Supreme Court to hear Florida First Amendment case. And it came on the 13th, to be exact. The Supreme Court on Monday agreed to take up a First Amendment case stemming from the arrest of a frequent government critic as he spoke during the South Florida City Council meeting. Justices will hear an appeal by Fane Lozman, who filed a lawsuit against the city of Riviera Beach after his arrest in 2006. Lozman alleged that the city had violated First Amendment rights or retaliated against him for its outspoken criticism, and for another lawsuit alleging sunshine law violation. Lower courts sided with the city, which argued that a police officer had probable cause to arrest those who had refused to comply with directions from the council member. The case focuses on what probable cause defeats the First Amendment retaliation claim, according to documents filed by both sides. Attorneys for Lozman argued in the June petition to the Supreme Court that his position could have a broader implications on free speech. The prospect of being arrested will deter many individuals from exercising their First Amendment rights at all, particularly when it comes to criticizing government, said the petition, posted on the website SCOTUS blog, which I'm going to add that footnote in there. A Riviera Beach resident of ordinary firmness who attended the council meeting or saw the video of Petitioner Lozman being arrested, handcuffed, and manheld out of the city council chamber would surely think twice before speaking his or her mind about the city's policies. Yeah, it's supposed to be the servants, not the masters. We're masturbators, right? But attorneys for the city said police calmly consider what suspects say in deciding whether to make arrests, and Lozman's position could open the door to civil lawsuits. As an example, the attorneys wrote in a brief last month that police might consider whether a drunk is making aggressive statements and deciding whether to make a public intoxication arrest. It is thus easy to imagine myriad circumstances in which officers perform arrests that they would have not performed but for the arrestee's speech. Agree said under Lozman's proposed rule, every one of them would be unconstitutional. Court documents made clear that Lozman was an outspoken critic of the Riviera Beach city government, including over plans by the city to use eminent domain as part of redevelopment efforts. That criticism included filing a lawsuit alleging sunshine law violations about the approval of an agreement with developers. That's under Article 1, Section 24 of the Florida Constitution as well. So the arrest happened in November 2006 as Lozman addressed the city council during a public comment period. During his comments, Lozman spoke about the arrest of former Palm Beach County Commissioner on corruption charges, according to details, including in an 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruling earlier this year. A city council member interjected, but Lozman refused to stop speaking, subsequently leading to his arrest on charges of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest without violence. Interesting about that, him, council member, interjecting. Do they have like a time? I'm just wondering if the city of Riviera Beach has like a 2-3 minute time limit that they can speak their mind. That's the thing if you intervene. The city's brief at the Supreme Court contends the council member did not try to stop Lozman from speaking, but sought to redirect him from talking about the city Palm Beach County Commission issue. The state attorney's office said probable cause existed for Lozman's arrest, but decided against prosecuting the case, according to the appeals court ruling. In 2008, Lozman filed a civil lawsuit alleging retaliation in the arrest. It's very interesting because interesting inside there on what they have to say in Gainesville.com. So I'm going to hit the next article as well from Sun Sentinel. There's a video on here as well. Riviera Beach man with floating house gets Supreme Court hearing in free speech case. It says here the Supreme Court came out November 13th, 2 o'clock. The U.S. Supreme Court agreed on Monday to hear a First Amendment case brought by a Florida man who previously won a landmark ruling from justices on whether his floating home was a house, not a boat subject to easier government seizure under laws that govern ships and boats. This time, the justice agreed to hear a case in which Fane Lozman sued after being charged with disorderly conduct and resisting the arrest at a public meeting. Lozman, 56, was never brought to trial on charges. Prosecutors dropped them after concluding there was no possibility of a conviction. Lozman then sued Riviera Beach, claiming the arrest at the 2006 council meeting violated First Amendment free speech guaranteed because of the retaliation for opposing the marina redevelopment plan and accusing council members of corruption. A jury sided with the city after the trial, and the appeals court withheld that verdict. Lozman, however, took the case to the Supreme Court, arguing in part that the U.S. appeals court across the country are split on issues on retaliatory arrest versus free speech. What makes America great is our personal freedoms. Lozman said in an interview Monday, and I'll be damned when I'm going to let anybody take away my First Amendment rights to free speech. The Supreme Court will likely schedule an argument in Lozman's latest case for the late this winter or early spring. The case comes at time of a more frequent protest across the U.S. against the administration of the President Donald Trump over police race relations and divisive issues such as Confederate monuments. First Amendment Foundation, a nonprofit organization that promotes government openness and transparency in Florida, in a brief supporting Lozman that it is important for governments to have clear guidance for the Supreme Court on balancing probable cause for an arrest with free speech rights. The danger of being arrested and retaliation for engaging in protected free speech threatens to chill the exercise of core First Amendment rights, such as questioning or otherwise criticizing the government. The Foundation's filing says the potential chilling effect is especially acute in smaller towns and cities across America. In its court documents, Riviera Beach attorneys contend that the city council did not order Lozman's arrest at the 2006 meeting, and the city ordinances that gave police officers sole power to make that decision. Therefore, they argue the arrest was not retaliation for criticizing the government. It sounds like doublespeak there, as far as I'm concerned. Police officers alone had discretion to decide whether to make an arrest, and could do so only upon independently determining that there was probable cause to do so, the city attorney said. Lozman's arrest was not by the city's own policies, but rather by independent decisions of a city employee. The Supreme Court's 2013 ruling on Lozman's floating home, which was seized and destroyed by Riviera Beach, was seen by legal experts as an important precedent in maritime law for thousands of people who make their homes on the water, as well as floating businesses such as casinos. Different laws apply to vessels and homes, with homeowners receiving more protection from seizure in Florida than other states. Chief Justice John Roberts quoted as saying Lozman's floating home case was his favorite of that term. Roseman, a former Marine Corps officer and wealthy financial trader, marveled Monday that he has managed to get the nation's highest court to consider two of his cases when the vast majority of appeals are turned away. It's a noble fight, he says. It is an important time in our history. I'm proud to do my part to stand up for the First Amendment. And you know what? You cannot blame him for that, because if you take away his free speech, yours is next. It affects every single one of us. And what? Oh, sorry about that. James Madison said about the First Amendment protects the minority over the majority. So, you can criticize government, but I always tell people, have your merits as well. You drive them a lot more crazy. Trust me on that. Have your facts, you kick them off. You gotta give this Mr. Lozeman some homage. You stand up on principle. And everyone needs to start supporting his cause, even in the state of Florida, especially Riviera Beach. See, you got people in city council, city commissioners think they're smarter than you because a lot of them are a bunch of attorneys. Now, I'm not here bashing attorneys as a whole, but you got a lot of arrogant ones in there as well. Believe they're right, you're wrong, you're the morons. Even an individual like myself, we all need to get proactive on the local community. Make waves, do something, make a difference. And it's funny about that because it's always been like this for a long time. And to say there's nothing you can do about it, you can. Lozeman is a prime example of what you can do. And I'm gonna add some footnotes on here from the SCOTUS blog, talking about the proceedings. All right, so you can see it for yourselves. And the petition was granted, so you can see it for yourself. And of course, the Fane Lozeman official, FaneLozeman.com. He has his own website and has everything what's going on in Riviera Beach, and it's pretty cool. So you can look at the entire story about him, which is pretty damn cool. And of course, under Article 1, Section 2 about his basic rights, they're considered inalienable. And we can hit Section 9. They took away his it I believe it hasn't been done under due process. That's Section 9. And of course, we can just hit here on seizures, Section 12, Article 1. And we can go all the way down to Section 24A on access to public records and meetings. And every person has a right to inspect or copy any public record made or received in connection with official business, any public body, officer, or employee of the state, or persons on their behalf, except with respect records to exempt pursuant to the section, particularly made confidential by this Constitution. So, that means, consider weapons, stuff, and all that considered sensitive material. But anything pertaining to government business, he has that right. That's what the Sunshine Law is about on Article 1, Section 24A. Okay, but it says it all across the board in Section 24 of the state constitution. So I'm definitely going to put that in there. And that's why I tell folks it's good to know about the U.S. Constitution, but you got to know about the state constitutions as well. Then you got more intellectual ammunition. Because the name of the game, my friend, is you want to create a checkmate at these council meetings and all that. And commissioners and so forth. Trust me, I've done it, and I drive some people in there crazy because they can't say a word. So definitely keep these state constitutions handy. Ballotpedia.org is a good example, and they keep everything up to date. So support them, donate money if you can. That'd be great. That's why you gotta always stay vigilant and pay attention. All right. Okay. So the next one here, and you got folks here having some coffee and all that, and they know I do my show here. This is from Land Destroyer Report, and it came out today by Tony Carluti from the New Eastern Outlook. It says here, U.S. cut funds for disarming explosives it dropped on Cambodia. This is during the time of Vietnam, when this was during the Nixon administration. And as it reads here in this article, the Thai PBS titled, U.S. cuts 2018 funding for demining operations in Cambodia. It's revealed next year's meager $2 million in U.S. government funding for demining operations of U.S. Explosive Ordnance, UXO. The Eastern Cambodia left over from the Vietnam War has been discontinued without warning or explanation. The move caused confusion across Cambodia's government as well as across partner non-governmental organizations in Cambodia participating in the U.S. program. Speculation over the move revolves around growing tensions between Washington and Phnom Penh as the United States desperately attempts to reassert itself in the Asia-Pacific while Asian states, including Cambodia, continue to build closer and more constructive ties with Beijing at the expense of Washington's waning influence. Cambodia has recently exposed and ousted a myriad of U.S.-funded fronts posed as NGOs and independent media platforms executing a campaign of U.S.-backed political subversion. This includes disbanding of the Cambodian National Resource Rescue Opposition Party and the arrest of its leader, Kem Sokha, who bragged of his role in a U.S. conspiracy to overthrow the Cambodian government and install him into power. Tensions in Cambodia represent a wider regional trend where U.S. footholds face increasingly scrutiny and resistance as Washington's abuse of NGOs, rights advocacy, and democracy promotion is systematically exposed and rolled back. Cut or renewed U.S. UXO assistance is meaningless. U.S. Embassy in Cambodia will claim as a receiving backlash for the move that the U.S. had unilaterally decided to shut down funding in order to open up bidding for a new and world-class removal program, the details of which have yet to be confirmed or released. The U.S. boasts that has spent more than $114 million over the past 20 years to clear explosives in itself helped drop on Cambodia as part of the nearly two decades-long war in Vietnam and wider intervention in Southeast Asia, or in other words, the U.S. has spent over 5,000 times less in 20 years on removing UXO in Cambodia. It does annually on its current military operations around the globe. In fact, a single F-35 Joint Strike Fighter warplane costs roughly the same amount of money the U.S. has spent on demining Cambodia over the last 20 years. There's an estimated 6 million pieces of UXO still littering in Cambodia, which since the end of the Vietnam War and the rule of the Khmer Rouge have cost nearly 20,000 Cambodians their lives, with casualties still reported monthly. Interesting. That's Khmer Rouge. That's during like the killing fields. You got that, and you got those mines and landmines and bombs and all that. Good grief. Efforts in the last 20 years cost as little as a single warplane in Washington's current arsenal and still leave people dead and maimed. Monthly indicated efforts that are half-hearted, a diplomatic stunt more than sincere reparations of humanitarian concern. Doubling nothing is still nothing. In neighboring Laos, the United States left an estimated 80 million sub-munitions littering the country, or about 11 for each man, woman, and child that lives there. 20,000 people have also been killed by UXO in Laos, and many more have been maimed. According to the Lao National Unexploded Ordnance Program, UXO Lao, 444,711 sub-munitions, about 0.055%, have been destroyed between 1996 and 2010, despite the dangerous and exhausting work eliminating 0.055% of the 80 million sub-munitions still littering the country amounts virtually nothing. Of course, Nina Hakian said, we've been spending hundreds of millions of dollars to clean up, and President Obama just doubled annual contribution. That's from the Al Thai News says, second, only 80 million to U.S. cluster bomblets dropped on Laos, with U.S. failure to clean them up a close third. That's the Twitter Nina Hatching. Despite this, the U.S. insists that it is dramatically increasing its efforts. U.S. Ambassador to IC Nina Hakim will claim upon the U.S. being criticized for its current meddling in Laos in the light of the horrific UXO legacy it has left there, that we've been spending hundreds of millions of dollars to clean them up, and President Obama just doubled our annual contribution. Western establishment journalist and diplomat, an article titled "Obama and Laos Cleaning Up After the Secret War," will try to explain its increased contribution, claiming emphasis added in recent years the U.S. support for UXO clearance and victims assistance in Laos has dramatically increased. In response to steady pressure from NGOs like Legacies of War and the Alliance of Congress, the U.S. funding for this work increased from $5 million in 2010 to a record $19.5 million this year. These resources dispersed by the State Department's Office of Weapons Removal and Abatement are used to support clearance efforts that destroy up to 100,000 pieces of lethal ordnance in Laos annually, employing 3,000 workers in the commercial and humanitarian sectors. While the U.S. repeatedly boasts of the millions that it spent to clean up a mess it itself intentionally created, the current rate of UXO disposal in Laos alone, the country should be saving approximately 1,000 years, or effectively never, when Washington's remaining points of leverage in the East Asian Pacific include the threat of continued political subversion and destabilization and cutting of already meaningless levels of aid to deal with the decade-spanning UXO threat versus China's offer of economic, infrastructure, and military partnerships. It finds itself in a self-feeding cycle of decline in Asia that will in turn further feed its decline as a global hegemon. The cruel irony of America's clumsy, inadequate, and embarrassing UXO policy in Southeast Asia is that the annual military budget that endorses UXO annual removal efforts in Asia by a factor of tens of thousands is being used to fuel conflict elsewhere around the globe. From the Middle East to North Africa to Central Asia to Eastern Europe, this is littering the planet with not only additional UXO dangers, but new and more horrifying threats, including depleted uranium munitions and chemical weapons proliferation. While the U.S. could potentially play a constructive, positive role in the Asia Pacific, the same mentality that underpinned the U.S. foreign policy that drove the Vietnam War and resulted in the current UXO threat is the same mentality that still prevails today on Wall Street in Washington. If that mentality and those possessing it are all rooted out, America's current state of decline will be terminal. So, when you critics, that's what happens when you support an empire, my friends, for all those years of propaganda, deceptions, and lies. When the government has this mentality to know best, give them a good whack in the mouth. One thing I know for sure is when you see money being spent like this and people complain and don't do anything. A lot of people protested too during that time, which was good. But why should we have our money be extorted to fight illegal wars? The invasion of Cambodia was unconstitutional under the Nixon administration. Of course, the military-industrial complex, I say the Nixon administration bent over to, made this a reality. Instituted by the Khmer Rouge, he said there's even a claim that the CIA groomed up Pol Pot. But if I'm correct, it's been declassified. So, this is why, my friends, I'm against all forms of wars, illegal wars, unconstitutional wars, imperialism. As a person like myself, I support common defense, not imperial offense. I'm sick and tired of having people try to get real defensive on that. Oh, we need a bigger military budget. No, we don't. You better start really doing your homework on here. And I know, too, on newsbuzz.com that you have one on the Department of Defense's budget. Last time I checked in October of 2017, it was worth $44 billion, over 300 contracts, Many of them are foreign. Look it up. I don't need to post it, but look it up for sure. This all have to stop. And good people are suffering over there. It is completely wrong what the United States or any form of tyrannical governmental system does. And I'm digressing. So finally, this came out today by John Rappaport's blog. Your pill spies on you. The pill reports when it's taken. And here's what John Rappaport says. Source, New York Times, November 13th. First digital pill approved to worry about biomedical big brother. Here's a new equation. A medicine is a pill. It's a pill as a sensor that reports when you took the pill. A shooting. Take your medication on time. They're starting with Abilify to use to treat schizophrenia and depression. The patient's signs be voluntary to be monitored. The sensor in this pill will inform up to 4 designated people. It's wonderful. Don't worry. Be happy. Surveillance state has a new eyeball in its patient mouth, throat, and stomach. Astuga manufactures a pill, and Proteus makes sensors, which is composed of copper, magnesium, and silicone. The pill reports when it's taken. Elderly, of course, are the main target in this new scheme. They'll sign up for the program in droves because they're already drugged to the gills, and they easily forget everyday details. Wonderful. I want my pills to have sensors in them so I can be sure I'm doing what my doctor wants me to. Pharmaceutical slaves on parade. The overriding principle here is what starts out as a voluntary program eventually becomes mandatory for the good of all. A lot of Social Security Act, remember that? The voluntary phase is just a warm-up to secure general acceptance. The whole vaccination schedule is a perfect example of the shift from voluntary to mandatory. Eventually, you'll hear something like this. Bob, are you still taking those pills without sensors? I think they were even making them anymore. What's wrong with you? Don't you want protection? Last month, I forgot to take my antidepressant on time, and I thank God my smartphone alerted me. It could have been a disaster. Or about this, someday the governor of California signed a bill mandating that all workers in the state who are prescribed bipolar medicines take them with embedded sensors. The governor said there's a real danger to the community when people with bipolar are unmedicated or miss their dosing schedule. This new law will protect all of our people. Pharmaceutical slaves on parade. My oh my. Can we say New World Order 101? Absolutely. Truth of the matter is, my friends, it's like you don't need an RFID chip. Just take these digital pills. Biomedical at its finest. Will you want that in your system? Hell no. I guarantee you one thing, they will lead to cancer and other illnesses within the body as a foreign object, such as the RFID chip. I say shoot it down and tell them to stick it. No ends if they're butts. Well, and that is it, my friends. Short and sweet. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to send me something that's interesting you may want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondences with the quorum. All right? And you can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Breaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Scene.life. Looks like Scene.life can be giving me issues. I know I'm not the only one here. Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com, which is Look3. If you want to be a donor, supporter, and all that, you can hit me on Gab, G-A-B, which is Gab.ai. Another, I say freedom version of Twitter. Because there's a lot of claim that Twitter has been censoring people. In addition, you can email me at LokiLuckNumber3@gmail.com, or you want to encrypt it, LokiLuckNumbers03@protonmail.com. So, I'm going to decide to play a song. I haven't done that in a while. It's been a long time. But I'm going to short, sweet, and thematic. From a good friend of mine, Blood Clot, John Joseph McGowan, a Christian Irish lad from the Lower East Side. The song's called Kill the Beast. We can all relate to, okay? Well, enjoy the song. Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.